then stick in a message at the bottom, where you are, where you're from, and your position within school, and that'll help me and everyone else understand, I suppose, the community that we're talking to, and also it's important some networking opportunities which I want to talk about as we go through the afternoon. All right, I want to just take you through an overview of the course itself to start with, and just so we all know where we're going to go and hopefully where it's going to lead to. So, session 1 this afternoon, we're going to look at 4 items, which are on your screen. They're an introduction to leadership, personal effectiveness. We're going to have a break halfway through for about 5 to 10 minutes for a drink, stretch your legs if need be, pop to the toilet, and then back into leading and motivating staff and understanding your whole school context. And then the next 2 you can see there where that's going to go and how we're going to move this through. So that was important, a little overview really, so you can see what we're trying to achieve at the end of this. Alright, just a little bit about getting the most out of the course then. I just want to take you through a few things that I think might be helpful and can hopefully make this course as effective as it can be. First of all, I don't know where you all are at the moment, whether you are in school, whether you're at home, whether you're in an office, wherever you are. But certainly think about your environment. Think about maybe even grabbing a headset if there's one nearby, if you haven't already got one, so you can listen and you're not distracted by any of the noises or anyone sort of running through the room or the corridors or the classrooms or wherever you are. Be sure to take some notes. I'm going to give you a lot of different ideas, hopefully a lot of different tips, a lot of different things to think about, and maybe things to go away and research independently as well. So if you haven't got a pen and paper, it might be an idea to grab one if there's one within arm reach now while we're just doing this sort of introductory part. Graham mentioned about using the chat box, and I'd like to encourage you all really to use the chat box and ask questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions as and when I can as we go through. And if you want to put something in there, if I've mentioned something you're not clear on, or you would like me to repeat it, or you want to go off on a bit of a tangent, or you want to know something else about that, feel free to do it. Put it in there. If it's something that I can answer here and now, and it's part of what we're doing, I will try and do that as seamlessly as possible. If it's something that I feel needs a greater time spent on that, then we can think about maybe coming back to do that either towards the end or another session, or I'm more than happy for you to contact me independently outside of this session. I'll have my details at the end and we can work through that there. So that's great. And also to help each other, there may be questions that you want answering and somebody else within the room, there's 10 or 11 of us in the room now, can answer that. So it may be that you're not necessarily asking a question to me, you may be asking a question to the other participants in the room. So it might be, well, has anyone else tried this at their school, or has anyone got any experience of this, or can anyone help me think of a way of how we can put this into practice? And what I want to do is I want to try and I've been an advocate really for networking and helping each other out, speaking to each other. And I'd like to think that throughout this course, over the 3 courses we have, that people can maybe swap contact details, get to know people, contact people outside of the course, and network so that you can all feel that we're in this together, we're all moving forward together, and you have a support network around you. I do a lot of this already on Twitter, and I found that to be an amazing way of connecting and collaborating with people, generating ideas, bouncing ideas off people, asking for advice, tips and tricks, all that sort of stuff. So I'd love us to be able to do that as we go through, and I think the chat box is a great way of doing that and answering questions, asking questions, etc., etc. So that's really how we can get the most out of the course. Feel free to ask, take notes, and let's see how we get on. All right, the aims and objectives then really. What I want to do is I want to try and develop, I'll give you an understanding of senior leadership. I've been in senior leadership now for about 7 years. I've just got a job as a deputy head teacher, and I feel that I'm in a good place to be able to give you some very recent experience of a promotion within senior leadership, some authentic experience of working in a school in senior leadership for the last 7 years, and hopefully I can really develop your understanding so that it can help your career in moving forward to the next chapter, wherever that is in your career as well. I want to really focus on school improvement, and I'm not going to touch on this too much now because this is going to come out in the first session we're going to do in a few minutes. But I really want you to think. I'd like you all to take your subject leader's hat off and take your departmental hat off and really start to think whole school, because as senior leaders we are charged with school improvement, and that's a big task, and it's a very responsible task, and we've got to make sure we take that seriously. And I really want you really to think about how can we improve the school. Maybe think about your school context if you want, but I really want you to start to think about whole school rather than just departmental. Thirdly, I want it to be a catalyst for further thinking and further research. There may be things that I mentioned tonight that you just jot down and you think, yeah, I want to know a bit more about that. I want to look into that. Well, this is there's time between the sessions to go off and look at that, to either carry out some research in your own school about things I've mentioned, or to go and do some further reading, or to go and ask someone, or to go and watch somebody. And I want really to start to grow, to have that sort of growth mindset where we can go away and think about these things. And there's tons of places you can go away and do this research. So I hopefully it will be a catalyst for that. And then an opportunity to reflect on your readiness. A lot of you, well, you're obviously on this course because you want to move to the next level, or you're thinking about moving to the next level. Well, this will hopefully give you an opportunity to think, well, am I ready? What do I need to do between now and whenever it is that you're going to apply? Or if there is an opening coming up that you know about, well, what do you need to do in the short space of time so you feel you are ready to be able to move to that next level? I think that's important for us all to stop and reflect at some point. And actually, it may be out of this course you may think, wow, I'm a million miles away from where I need to be. Or it may be that you think, well, yeah, actually, I know quite a lot of this. I feel I am ready. There's not a lot new that I've learned, and that might be just that confidence boost that it's given you to be able to reflect on actually where you are. And it's sometimes we can't do that in the dynamic world of schools and how busy it is. But when you can stop and reflect and sit back and look at your own performance and your own role, what you've achieved over the last few years, where you're hoping to go, and start to align those and to look at maybe outlining the next steps and possibly looking at a personal development plan for yourself about what you need to do to take you on to the next level and hopefully beyond, maybe towards headship. So that's the aims and objectives. I hope that's pretty clear in terms of where I want to take the course. Like I said before, I've been in senior leadership for 7 years. My background is as a PE teacher. I've been an assistant head teacher for 7 years. I have had experience of being in charge of behaviour, safety, exclusions, attendance, child protection. I've had another distinct role as raising achievement, data tracking, student tracking, and my last role was leading teaching and learning. So I've had a good experience of that, and I've just been, like I said, appointed to deputy head teacher. So I can hopefully give a good and a broad variety of experience across the whole school. Okay. Right, so this session tonight then is the first one. We're going to look at 4 areas. So I mentioned that they were introduction to leadership, personal effectiveness, leading and motivating staff, and understanding your whole school context. I think that's a good place to start because I think once you've got these foundations, and once we understand what leadership is in school and how we can be effective and how we can motivate staff, then we need to understand our school context. Once we've got those things, we can then start to move on further and deeper into the course. All right, so big question to start with really is leadership management. What is the difference? And I don't know whether you've ever stopped to think about this, because quite often it is something that is fairly fluid in people's conversations and sentences, and it's sometimes used within the same sentence about how you lead and manage staff, as if it's the same skill set. And I want to really just take time to sort of have a look at this and reflect on this and think, well, what do leaders do and what do managers do? And I read something recently that was quite clear in how it broke it down. It broke it down very simply. But the managers are the people that make things tick. They make the organizations work. They continue to work, or they get their employees, whether it's teachers or whether it's factory workers, irrespective of that, they get them to perform and to carry out really the orders or the vision of the organization. And without those managers, schools businesses, whoever can't can't function. They are literally the lifeblood, because those are the people that make the place tick.